Well, John, we've hit 25 episodes, man. I can't believe it. Can you? It's
Oh,
unbelievable.
old enough to rent a car.
Old enough to rent a car. I mean, of legal drinking age, of course, we've long past that. But
Oh yeah. Oh
I
yeah. It's
mean,
been a
I want
while.
to thank you, like right off the top, before we even get started. Just thank you so much for doing this with me. It was your brainchild, of course, when we first started this in
Oh, thank
October.
you.
And it's like, my God, I would have never thought 25 episodes later, here we are coming at you with another episode of Two Noobs Talking. I never would have ever thought I'd be doing this.
Well,
And for fun too, which is even great. Now we just need to get working on the paid part. That's the only thing we got to work
we'll get there.
on.
We'll get there.
Exactly. With John Tracy, of course, I'm Matt Craig. Welcome everyone to another episode of Two Noobs Talking. And man, oh man, do we have an episode for you. I mean, this is just absolutely chock full. John and I mean, have been going through like texting, right? This entire week of
It's
like
it's a
this thing,
lot.
this thing, this thing, this thing. It was like, what the heck? We got to get this all sorted out. So hopefully we're going to do that for you today,
I
and
think we
make it
have
as entertaining as possible because
absolutely.
some of it's been kind of, but we've got a really good, fun, happy segment at the end. So
Yeah. Well, let's start. Let's start off. Literally, we'll just share a screen with about a cockwobble for our British listeners.
love it,
Mr. Cuomo, thank you for the person who put that in my inbox so I knew how to say it.
love it.
So this is msn.com screenshot. It's sourced. It'll be in our show notes down at the bottom.
John, we're up to 9.
Yeah, we're up to 9. Just Matt, can you please just read this
The
for our audio
ninth
listeners?
woman to accuse the New York governor of misconduct claims Cuomo acted in a, quote, overly sexual, highly inappropriate manner, end quote. Wow.
Can I ask you a question?
As always, you can, John. Go ahead.
So when someone comes to you and says highly sexual, overtly, like these aren't words you're using every day. So
Yeah. Like, this is like, okay,
there's
tongue
trauma
in,
there.
yeah,
There's trauma because she's trying to get her point across.
big time. Big time. I mean, it's unmistakable now with the fact that when we last did this was like a few episodes ago.
Yeah.
We tallied 7. Now there's
Yeah.
an 8th and a
I
9th.
think there was an eighth as we were about to do the episode. So we never
Exactly.
actually.
And now there's a 9th.
Yeah, I
And I'm
know.
thinking, like, what's the over under with this guy? Is the
Right.
over under now? Can I set it at 12? Is
You
the
know,
now are
no,
we
I
going to
think
go
it's gonna be
over or
once.
under that with
It's
the
gonna be
number of
once a
complaints?
week until they finally remove this idiot.
It is unconscionable, unmistakable that this is
I don't.
happening.
Yeah, I don't understand any of it.
Maybe not
It's
unmistakable is probably the wrong word, but it's unbelievable. That's the word I was looking
that
for.
that's truly that is absolutely well. It's not unbelievable thinking about Cuomo and the Cuomo family.
No,
It's not unbelievable they did it. It's unbelievable he's still in office
yeah,
or that he's still not charged with the deaths
yeah,
from
exactly.
the nursing homes. It's
Yeah,
like he still goes to work. That's what's unbelievable.
exactly, exactly. I mean, but I mean, I would hope the New York legislature. I think they've stripped the powers away from him, right? I mean, they have that
It's getting
ability.
it's getting there at least. Yeah, from it's kind of like going into our next couple things. It's kind of like the Newsom thing. I think there are people that are in control and they're just going through the constitutional points of because nobody, you know what I mean? You can't remove him. He
No,
has to either remove himself
yeah,
or the voters have to remove him.
yeah.
So
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, good
that's
on the
kind of what that
legislature to
sucks
actually
about.
stand up, right? I mean, good on the legislatures to
Hmm?
kind of rise up to the occasion here and not being dictated to by,
Yeah, exactly.
by this ridiculous governor who just so many moral failings. I mean, I pray for the guy's soul for crying out loud. If he's
Oh
like,
yeah. I
you
mean,
know, 9, I'm thinking 12 is probably going to be the maximum. I'm just thinking like I'm not sure if I want to put money on the over. You know what I
25.
mean? It's like I would hope it, but yeah,
I mean,
it's
he's
ridiculous.
you know what? Let me just and he's a public figure, so I can slander him as much as I want.
Oh sure, yeah,
Um, he's probably been inappropriate with every woman he's ever met.
I
If
wouldn't be
you have
surprised.
9 people, I'm just saying, if you have 9 people
Yeah.
that are accusing you in the media, he probably's not been
Who's to
nice
say
to
there's
any
another?
woman he's ever met.
Who's to say there's
Is
not
that
another
fair?
handful? Right. Who's to say there's not
Yeah.
another handful of people that are saying, I don't have the gut. I don't have the maybe just I'm not fully brave yet, but I know he did this to me.
Yeah, or they don't take it as because a lot of these kind of scumbags get off with, well, it's just the way he is, and that's not like he's a scumbag. Like
Yeah.
that isn't the way he is. He's a scumbag. It is
Yeah.
the way he is, but it's not the way it should be.
He needs to be called to account for this,
Yes,
obviously, and it
yes.
needs to
I
be
hope so,
held to
and
this.
I hope he gets called to accountability for this, and I hope he gets accountability for that ridiculous change in the counts. I hope he gets
Yeah.
accountability for accepting that money for the book.
Oh yeah.
There's a ton that he needs to be held accountable for. I mean, we don't need to waste that much time. He's that bad of a human.
I was just gonna say, let's go Fahrenheit 451 on his books. That would be pretty darn cool, if you ask me. But I mean, let's transition away from this scumbag. Let's go to another one, and that's of course in California.
Let me just call him a cockwobble one more time.
Love it, but
look
the
it
fact
up.
that we found,
You guys will laugh. Look it up.
I mean, it's great. The fact though that we found in terms of California, right? We found this really, really interesting screenshot.
Oh yeah. The whole thing is
California.
The article is great.
The article is just unbelievable. California fed up with Dems can flip from blue to red, and it's basically Rick Greenell, who was on with Jim Varney. Who's actually, I like Jim Varney. I don't know about
Yeah, I
you,
didn't
John.
no hate there at all.
Terrific guy. He basically is like saying that California Democrat, like the Californians in general, are so frustrated with Newsom's lockdowns and the Democrat Party as a whole, essentially, that he believes California may turn red. And
Which politically is it's impossible. For so many years, it's always been because the thought with the Republican Party has always been, oh well, we got to turn
you have
California
Texas,
red, but they're going to lose Texas while they're turning California red, and that's always been the great political debate: is stop with California and just try to keep Texas. It's Texas and California are a great cancel outer for red and blue.
Yep.
But
if one of those states flips,
yeah, I know it's and you keep the other state. It's not good for either party.
No,
it really
the nuclear fallout from that.
I definitely feel though that this article made a lot of sense. I'm not saying that it'll happen because you don't know if it'll happen because you don't even know if Texas. For the influx of like Toyota and Amazon, the influx of Democrats into Texas makes it a little weary. It's still a red state, but it makes it a little weary for.
Well, you have pockets. You have pockets in Dallas. You have pockets in San Antonio. You got pockets in Austin,
Houston.
Yeah.
Then you get down to the valley. There's a lot of Democrats down in the valley.
But I mean, at the same time, it's like that is also a border state, and it's like,
which is crazy.
Well, you also have, what was it like? I think the mayor of El Paso, who was a Democrat down there, basically saying the Biden administration has got to get going here. Like, I have a crisis on the border.
Well, that's the one thing that I've seen in politics over the last 3 weeks. If I can just talk a little bit about it as I get rid of this, because I totally wasted too much time on that. Look at two noobs working. What I've seen a lot of politically is from being in the middle and kind of looking at the Democrats and the Republicans. I see a lot of Democrats speaking out.
Yeah.
Which is great because a lot of Republicans are speaking out. I mean, that
was to be expected.
Down at the border, I mean, God, I mean, I saw a number today. I'll just throw it out there. During the Trump administration, there were 2,600 illegal aliens housed in that facility. There's 12,000. as of today.
That's like 5 times,
Yes.
six times the amount.
Yes.
Wow.
And the only difference, and this is not me, this is just literally a report that I saw. You were allowed access from 16 to 20. You're not allowed, nobody's allowed access down there.
Gosh. I mean, that's a humanitarian crisis more than anything else, and that's top of the list right there,
Well, I mean,
right?
it's a coronavirus problem.
Big
If
time.
you're of the coronavirus problem people, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? If you think it's a problem to go out dining,
Mm-hmm.
you might want to look at the border, because it's the same. You know what I mean? It's the same thing.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It's the exact same thing. Not to
Yeah.
get on my soapbox or anything, but like,
And it's not like they're like being held in like palatial estates down there. It's like it's closed environments. So it's like if and I've seen a little bit of the videos here and there, but it's
yeah,
like you've got a pandemic going on. What is happening down there? It's like
yeah.
this is on the administration. They got to step it up here.
It's not comfortable. It's not.
No,
It's not
no,
comfortable to be a person that cares about other people. It
absolutely.
really is not a comfortable time to be that person.
Yeah, yeah, and
Like,
scary, scary
I
indeed.
can imagine. Like, I personally got off of Twitter just recently
Mm,
because of things like that.
yeah,
Because
it's
yeah,
everywhere.
like humanity is a thing. Like, and
Understatement of the year.
I don't care what country you're from. Humanity's a thing, and
Yeah,
you can't pack them into sardine cases and
yeah,
call it not an issue.
yeah. Exactly,
I
exactly.
got tons more issues with the president
Oh yeah,
than that, but
yeah.
we don't need to. This is not what that segment's about. So we
But
can.
let's close up with another one of the Fab Five, John, real quick with
Oh,
Pennsylvania,
absolutely.
because this
By the
one
way,
just came in like today. That I was
hot
like, oh,
off
we
the
got to throw this
presses,
in. Yeah.
Matt literally was like, "Hey, are you done? No, you're not. You need to leave."
This
So
is just something that I found very encouraging with Governor Wolf and the Pennsylvania
please read it.
state legislature. So yeah, so I'll give it like for our audio listeners, kind of just some background a little bit.
Mhm.
PA has had in the beginning part of the pandemic, governor had carte blanche. You've got authorization to basically shut the whole state down for 90 days. But the problem was that as Governor Wolf, and I would say he rightly did it for the first time he did it, but he's continually done it. And
Over and
has
over again.
kind of just, yeah, and has had kind of carte blanche activity, shall we say, with all of these lockdown measures, while the legislature is actually doing what they're supposed to do and bringing a bill saying like, well, hey, we can open the business, but here are we can have the businesses have these kinds of restrictions in place: social distancing, hand washing, all that kind of stuff, hand sanitizer available for customers. Wolf shot that one down. Basically said, nope, we're not going to open any businesses at all. So it's like, what more can you say? So this article from the Wall Street Journal, I'll read this real quick. Quote,
Good
now
one.
the General Assembly, that's the Pennsylvania General Assembly, is asking voters to approve two ballot measures that would return control over emergency declarations to the people's representatives in the legislature. The first would limit the length of the emergency disaster to 21 days as opposed to 90. After that, only a joint resolution by the legislature could extend the proclamation. And the
That's
second
smart.
measure, that's really good. The second measure would amend the Pennsylvania Constitution to allow the General Assembly to pass a resolution, which the governor cannot veto, by a simple
So
majority
the
to
people
extend or
rule.
terminate the governor's emergency declaration. So, I mean, it returns power back to the people, John. Your thoughts on that?
Oh, absolutely. That was my first thought. That was brilliant, dude. Good find.
Yeah,
Great find, actually. That's a great find. 21 days is brilliant. It's
3 weeks.
absolutely brilliant. Three
Yep,
weeks to figure it out. And
absolutely.
guess what? If you didn't figure it out, 21 days. Because you could just re-up.
Yeah,
Six
yeah,
weeks.
and it's back in the hands of the legislature. If the legislature's like, okay, we haven't really, because I think the process was, well, okay, we're going to, slow the spread down over 2 weeks. Well, that didn't really work. Obviously, that kind of blew up in everyone's
Oh
face.
no, absolutely. But you have a smaller time frame to where something won't get out of hand.
Yeah,
Long term, This is in finance. This is in anything that you do. Long-term investments are risky.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All long-term investments are risky.
Carry some element of risk.
Just
You're
for
right.
a point, you buy a house in a neighborhood.
Yeah.
It's a long-term investment, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But if the neighborhood
30
goes
years.
to kerplunk,
Mm-hmm. Oh
where's your
yeah.
investment?
Exactly.
Not so good.
Not so good.
Long-term investments are terrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're
Exactly.
risky. They're definitely do sometimes they work out? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Short-term thinking helps everybody.
Yeah. And that, I think, going from 90 to 21 is a terrific start.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't give the governor a carte blanche.
Great
Because
point.
most like emergency declarations, I'll give you like from a Pennsylvania National Guard perspective, right? My dad, of course, involved with tons of them.
Yes.
Most of the emergency declarations or emergency like situations that take place are usually within a week,
Yeah.
maybe two, pushing max. Like, and I'm talking hurricanes, blizzards. That's pretty much like the extent of it, like with Pennsylvania. But it's usually like a week, week and a half, maybe pushing 2 weeks if it's really, really bad. 90 days is ridiculous.
Because 90 days plus 90 days plus 90 days plus 90 days is
All of a sudden, you've got a year. Yeah.
And that's easy peasy for a power hungry, not saying, but for a power hungry person, guess what?
And before you say, oh, well, this is an attack on a Democrat, it would work on a Republican too. So I don't want to hear that either.
Yeah, no, totally. So, but
this is helpful. This, to your point, John, this is really, really helpful to have a short-term thinking of like, oh, wait a minute.
Gives the power back to the people. It forces people to come. This is a thing that I have with Congress and Senate is they're not in session for long periods of time. Like, you work for us. Like, you should be in session just as long as we are at work.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you don't get
that's your job. You wanted to go and
same thing with a governor. Dude, I want you to review everything every 21 days for us.
Absolutely.
I don't want you that 90. What are you mailing it in Goffin?
Yeah, exactly. What are you doing the remaining like 70 some odd days or 69 days left?
He probably wasn't even in the state for half that time.
Yeah, he was probably holed up somewhere in Harrisburg. That's the latest rumor I heard. He was like holed up in FEMA or in the Harrisburg office.
But that's
basically just kind of running ship there. It's like, well, okay.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I'd rather not to beat it to death, but I'd much rather a law be put in place where they have to do their job. You know what I mean? Within 3 weeks makes sense.
Yeah. Exactly.
You probably could have got some of the nonsense out of the way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm not saying it's all nonsense, but there were some nonsense, especially in
big time.
Pennsylvania.
That's what I'm thinking, like probably post-mortem, if you got like a lessons learned or a post-mortem type of thing where you look back on this, it's like, okay, here's what not to do. Don't give carte blanche to all the, the governors to shut the whole thing down. Give the power back to the people where they can look at data after 21 days. Okay, well, maybe we need to do this. Put the process in place. Reopen the businesses.
And it's
things along those lines.
Forcing them to look at it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
And that's probably the best part about it is finally people are getting some control back because what we've seen with lockdowns and stuff throughout the country, throughout the world, like there were people that were in charge that didn't know how to be in charge.
Oh, you mean like the quack? You mean like the big quack doctor down in Washington, D.C., John?
I don't even know why he's still in charge. He makes more money than the president.
How that is even possible, I have no idea.
$24,000 more than the president.
Should we play that clip? Let's play the clip of this.
Yeah, and then we'll go to the article.
And then we'll go to the article. Yeah, why don't we just do it? Because I think this is really important. Talking about Dr. Quack, my favorite, Dr. Fauci. Quack.
Saying his name.
Is
Fauci a cockwobble? Let's bring that back up. He might be.
You know what? I'll go with it. I think that's pretty good. He might just be. He might be.
That's going to be on the YouTube cockwobble. It's going to be on the YouTube. I've just decided.
Love it. Love it. So this clip I'm going to play is from the Tucker Carlson show on Fox.
Big
Fox
fan of
News.
Tucker, except for when he goes long.
Exactly. When he goes like 20 minutes, we kind of want to dial that back a little bit, but he had on Steve Deese, who wrote a terrific book.
I can't wait to read it. Actually,
it's going to be. So this first like minute and a half clip is Tucker interviewing Steve Deese about his book and really about Dr. Quack. So let me just play this.
Go for it.
1 second. Let me just throw this back up here real fast. But it's really just an amazing clip.
I like his thought process.
I love his thought process too. Here we go.
Someone to manage a response to a pandemic. Tony Fauci might be at the very bottom of your list. Fauci has been wrong about significant issue after significant issue. Remember, he said we shouldn't wear masks, then we should. In January of last year, he claimed there was a, quote, minuscule risk of corona transmission in this country. As late as March, he was encouraging people to attend political rallies. So the question is, how did Tony Fauci get so much power? Finally, someone has addressed this at book length. Steve Deese is the author of Fauci and Bargain, the most powerful and dangerous bureaucrat in American history, which we are happy to say is the #1 best-selling book in America right now. It was amazing. Nice. Steve, thanks so much for coming on tonight. And congratulations on this book's immediate success. It tells you there was a lot of pent-up frustration. So what did you learn in writing it about Fauci?
That never has someone had more power in the history of this republic to be more wrong than Anthony Fauci. And Tucker, stop and think about it, and everybody in your audience, everyone, every life, every home, every family, every school, every church, every business, all have had their lives impacted or turned upside down by someone they didn't cast a single vote for. And yet we sit here and he has no accountability, a track record of failure over and over and over again. And in our book, we wanted to beg and ask some of the questions that are long overdue of one Anthony Fauci.
Which I'm going to say on this podcast, not long overdue. We've been doing this for 25 episodes.
Exactly.
But thank God you wrote it. And I hate the cuss, but thank God you wrote a book about how much of a piece of shit this dude is.
Yeah.
Because he is.
Yeah.
And it's that simple. And I can't wait to do the tags on YouTube when I literally hashtag Fauci's a piece of shit. Because it'll probably get a lot of views. Fauci sucks. Fauci has always sucked. Fauci will continue to suck. This man's legacy in the world is sucking.
Oh my God.
Terrible at what he does.
80 years old, and yet this is the legacy he will leave behind. Well, I don't know if we need to really wear masks. Oh, yeah, we really do need to wear masks. In fact, you know what? After you get vaccinated, you might need to wear two. Well, weren't you for the mask before you wanted to wear them?
He has no idea what he's
doing.
He has no idea what he's doing.
I'm not going to go off like I did a couple weeks ago because the guy was a quack, and I know he's a quack. I've come to peace with that, John. I've accepted it. I don't pay attention to a lick of what he says because it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. He talks out of both sides of his mouth. You wouldn't go to him for a common cold. You wouldn't go to him for a cancer diagnosis, would you? I'm not so sure I would.
I wouldn't ask him to pay my parking ticket because he probably wouldn't. He's bad. He is terrible. Let's get away from him.
Yeah, real quick. But yeah, we wanted to kind of throw that out there because I thought it was just a terrific. Yeah, it was a great audio. But
the great audio. Let's just and we're just gonna finish him with this because this is they're calling him out.
Yeah. Can I read this? Fauci, yes. CDC continue to fearmonger as Texas hits COVID lows. John, correct me if I'm wrong. You live in Texas, don't you?
Yes.
You don't have a mask mandate, right?
Yep. No, sir, I do not.
Oh, okay. And you reopened, you basically just ditched the mask, burned them in, in your 55-gallon drums or whatever?
No. I mean, they're still businesses, but yeah, it's not being governed at this point. I see about 50% of people are not wearing masks in stores.
That sounds great.
It's getting better. It's getting better as the day. I see no fear here
That's wonderful.
which is great.
That is fantastic.
Yeah, it's like the last 3 weeks have been kind of eye-opening to
Yeah.
the fear mongering that we're seeing in the media is not going to the citizens.
It's like just not
At all.
translating. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And this is a really good article. That's why we wanted to put it in there. Like the fear mongering is ridiculous at
Oh,
this point.
very much so.
The
I mean, the
fake
CDC
crying by the
director.
CDC director,
Yeah.
she's afraid. Like,
Oh my God. Oh my God, John.
just
I'm a
research
wife.
her.
I'm a wife. I'm a
Research-
mother.
research
I'm
her
a
how much of
daughter.
a criminal she is.
Yeah. I'm a wife. I'm a mother. I'm a daughter. Don't you see?
It was fake. That was as fake as I've ever seen it.
And we should throw this up there since it's on the screen for our audio listeners. I'll read this. Quote, Texas, which has reopened 100% and has lifted all restrictions 2 weeks ago, has what? Shown the lowest COVID-19 positive rates consecutively for 17 days, end quote.
Yep.
That's, John, thank God for that.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely. Because it could have went the other way.
it could have gone the other way.
But
it hasn't.
But it didn't. And
What's the fear? What's to fear?
fears they lose their political power over people. And Abbott is not the greatest governor in the world. He is not a part of the Fab Five, but he is definitely not the greatest governor in the world. But he at least had enough is enough at this point. Because it's been more than a year.
Yeah. And he's seen a year's worth of data. He's seen the fact that, yes, there have been deaths, but it's been the third, and of course, like, we should bring this up, it's been the third leading cause of death in the entire country. Now, that's not to poo-poo it, but we were told this was going to, like, dwarf, like, heart disease, cancer. This was going to just devastate us.
It's also not to say that it isn't a disease, or it isn't, I don't even know what to call it.
Yeah, the disease is right, and it is. It's a disease.
Yeah,
it's a virus.
You get sick from it.
You get sick from it, yeah.
But I just want to throw out, I have
and
not...
unfortunately, it's here to stay.
I have not locked down at all.
No.
I was a part of the essential workers.
Mm-hmm.
I have left the house. I've been in contact with people.
Mm-hmm.
I rarely wear a mask unless required to go into a store. When I'm outside, I've never actually put a mask on, ever, throughout the whole thing, from beginning to end. Refuse to be outside and wear a mask. Sorry if you don't like me. I refuse to do it. And you know what happened? I've had allergies. And I've maybe called out of work like 3 days
Couple
in an
times.
entire year because
Yeah.
I was a little under weather. It's not, I get it. Like, I get it. Like, it is a thing and people do get sick from it. But my big thing is people are afraid to be sick.
Yeah.
And I'll stand on that. I will literally stand on that.
I couldn't agree with
People
you
are
more,
more
John.
afraid to be sick than this being.
Then they're afraid of dying.
Exactly. It's just so crazy.
I mean, that's the insidious thing about what the lockdowns have done mentally to everybody, because it makes you just stop to second think yourself, and it's like, oh my God, am I part of the problem? And it's like, no, you're not part of the problem. You know,
Nobody's a part of the problem. It's just it's an overhyped, under-evaluated.
Yeah.
I get it. Like, I get people that see COVID patients every day.
Yeah.
Right? I get it. That is trauma bigger probably than I deal with on a daily basis.
One of my friends,
Seeing
John,
people fight for their lives every day from this. Absolutely. Like, there's more trauma there. But for the everyday person, just do you. Figure it out. It's not like the mortality rate is, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, it's what the case fatality rate was, like 1.8%, just less than 2%.
Exactly. When we live in a if you just want to do the country, it's 7.8 billion people.
Something, in the world. Yeah. You know, it's funny you mentioned that too, John, because like I have a couple of have a couple friends of mine. One I've known really since the high school years, and others and they're both registered nurses. They've been through the front lines, and
Yeah.
they've gone through it.
And God bless them for being there.
Thank God for them.
Like,
Yeah.
there's no-
And
yeah, there's no-
you and I both, of course, know, like, we've got a great friend of ours that we've known for close to 20 years that's played hockey with us, and he's a doctor, and he's seen it. And he has dodged the bullets and all that kind of stuff. But that's what they've signed up for, too. They want to do it. They want to help people through this. And they are absolute, like, troopers and heroes and all the things that they've done.
No, absolutely. Super troopers at this point. Like, they're amazing. But you know what they don't need? An idiot like Fauci.
Yeah. Who's kind of doing that. It's basically just...
And I think that's the greatest point. And I think this is probably going to be our first cut. What the frontline workers don't need is Fauci telling them what to do.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Because he's bought and paid for.
Absolutely.
He's either bought and paid for or...
Oh, he's agenda ridden 100.
Yeah. Yeah.
And don't
He's
get me
been
wrong.
a quack. And
Don't
I've
get
said
me
this
wrong.
before,
If
too.
Adidas wants to pay me $100,000 to say they're the greatest shoe ever, my ass, I'm going to say.
If Adidas wants to pay me for this, yeah. But no, it's like if only a quack would say, take this shot, but you know what? Throw a mask on. You're not fully vaccinated. What? I'm sorry. I don't buy it. I don't buy it.
I don't buy it either.
You
but
know,
I'm
it's
saying,
like-
but bought and paid for. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. It's just, oh, gosh. Just
Yeah, wasted too much time on him. I need to take a shower now. We should probably stop the episode. I'm going to take a shower, and then I'll come back.
Well, before we do, let's just, yeah, oh my gosh. Yeah, that's enough of him. But yeah, and so this next story, this to me, I mean, I'm applauding your son's generation, John, because we ran across this story in Virginia that just, I think, just absolutely blows my mind when you're talking teacher-parent or teacher-child relationship in a classroom, right? I mean, this was probably in which the student had more wisdom, more insight.
I absolutely think so. Yeah, absolutely.
Like race and where things are going in this country, as opposed to a teacher who was the stupidest person I think I've ever seen in this story. So
yeah, the teacher definitely comes off terrible.
Terrible.
Please.
So yeah, before we set this, I'll throw up a PowerPoint. But before I throw this up, I'll set up the entire situation. What's happening in this article we found, which we'll throw in the show notes, was this teacher had a kind of like a PowerPoint where you've got a redheaded white girl and an African American teenager, both the same age, on screen. So just keep
a boy and a girl.
Boy and a girl. Keep that in mind as we go through this PowerPoint, because I wrote this down from the article, and it is just unbelievable. So, John, here we go. We ready for this?
Absolutely.
Teacher, what do you see in the picture? So, asking this of the class, a student pipes up, just two people chilling out. Okay.
Yeah.
Right, just two people. Nothing more to that picture, the teacher asks. The student just replies back, nah, not really. Just two people chilling out. The teacher goes ape. I don't believe that you believe that. I don't believe that as you look at this, there's just two people. Student, it truly is just two people, though, is it not? Teacher, well, you're being intentionally coy with me. So, as the story continues, the other students ask the teacher if...
But he also should have been intentionally coy with her because it's a dumb question.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if I'm in this class, I'm leaping with my sarcasm, John. Like, 1,000% sarcastic at this point.
I'm being the biggest idiot. I am like, what do you mean? Like, I want her to be racist or him
Oh, yeah.
to be racist at this point.
At this point, yeah, exactly.
Because of course he's intentionally coy. He's smelling it out.
Exactly.
He wants his teacher to be racist.
Exactly.
Why not?
Why not? So other students asked the teacher if he is goading him into saying that there are two different races in the picture. Teacher, in response, yes, I am asking you to say that. Student, well, at the end of the day, wouldn't that just be feeding into the problem of looking at race instead of just acknowledging them as two normal people?
Yes,
John,
sir.
John, to me, that's like the single greatest question I've ever heard from a student, a high school student, in my lifetime.
But yeah, like I don't even understand why the teacher is trying to do this.
Yeah.
It's like
It gets better. It gets better because here's the final response. No, it's not. Because you can't look at the people and not acknowledge that there are racial differences.
That's Harvard fucking everybody up, is what that is.
You made the great point in our pre-production. Why don't you say it, John?
It's exactly that. They're trying to push the problem to keep the problem. They're not trying to change the problem.
They're also
Because
goading the witness, right?
exactly, well, it's leading the witness. It's
Yeah.
100% leading the witness for all my lawyer friends. Absolutely.
Yeah. For
You're
Dr.
leading the
IP, it
witness.
was
You're trying to get a response.
big time.
It's not.
And the response that like
Is
you
proper.
want as opposed to what this other person is saying. Yeah.
The students' responses were I don't even care what the picture was.
The
You know what I mean?
student's
It could've
response
been-
was brilliant.
But here's the thing: I don't care what his response was because they could have shown him a picture of two white people, two black people, two Asian people,
Mm-hmm.
or you could mix it up.
Yeah.
It could have been someone from India and someone from Pakistan.
Yep.
You could have it doesn't actually matter because obviously this kid sees people.
And good on him. Good on him.
And that's probably
Thank
what we
God for that.
race is a tough thing.
It is, and and
all
you and
I
I
know
have
is
grown up.
Yeah.
You and I have
The
grown
teacher's
up.
wrong.
Well, that's the thing. You and I grew up post civil rights era.
Yes, absolutely.
And we were taught, do not look at that person's color. It's their content and their character that matters more.
Oh, absolutely.
That sounds familiar. That came from Martin Luther King,
Yeah, absolutely. But
which was brilliant. And I struggled with trying to like formulate into words really like how to process all of this because my thought process was, when you go to the Netherlands, I've had the opportunity to go there, right? You go to one of the gardens. It's called Keukenhof, and it's like this world famous garden. It's like maybe about 30 minutes to the east of Amsterdam, close to the coast, and it's a tulip garden. And there are millions of tulips, and there are millions upon millions of different varieties, colors, whatever the case may be. But they're all tulips, and they're all beautiful. And maybe that's the mindset we need to have.
yeah, because they're all different and they're all
Yeah.
beautiful.
And that's what I think this student is rightly saying.
Yeah, no, I agree, 100%.
Like 100% on that, because he's not looking at the differences and saying, well, yeah, that person's this and this person's that. He's saying they're the same people.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you to this teacher? And it's like, I mean, I would want that teacher to be reprimanded for teaching this because it doesn't take long for that kind of thought
Yeah,
process, the
exactly.
teacher's
But
thought
that-
process, to turn this into 1933 Germany.
But that's been happening already for so many years, and this school does not do a good job
No,
at all.
no. I mean, that should concern people, I would think, within
I think so.
like any sort of like public school. And I don't want to paint a broad brush over every public school, but if this kind of stuff is going on in a high school,
it even goes to Harvard studies that say you need to
Yeah.
see color to understand color.
yeah, and that is just
You need to see people to understand people.
People.
Everybody's just because I'm white doesn't mean I'm like every white person.
exactly. Because you've walked different miles in
Yes.
your lifetime. And you've experienced things in your lifetime that are different from the carbon copy, whatever.
That's what I'm saying. And
Yeah.
you can imply that to all colors, races,
Beautiful.
and like you can be literally like, I'm not your prototypical white person. Sorry, I'm
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
And it's as simple as that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there isn't a brand there. Nike, Reebok, Adidas is not white, black, Asian.
Mhm.
And that's what corporate media wants to push on you.
Yeah. I think about
All
that.
Adidases look the same, right? Not all black people look the same.
Exactly.
It's simple.
Exactly.
It's so dumb. And
I don't know what. I mean, I mean, we
read
could
so
probably
many-
speculate as to why this teacher was trying to force that, but good on the
she
student.
probably
man.
went to college in an idiot university that taught her something about race that didn't fit.
That just didn't even
and
fly.
she thought she'd go somewhere and teach somebody else. It's
And the student, like,
teachers are not bad,
no.
but God,
But this is ridiculous. This is just like,
Yeah,
this
this
is
is a prime-
ignorance is what this is. This is, yeah, this is just ignorance personified, I think.
yeah, absolutely. That's a great word. That's an absolute great word.
Yeah.
It is ignorant.
Yeah. So,
Thank
We're
God
just-
that student knew better.
yeah, we just wanted to commend on this podcast. I think we wanted to commend the student for standing up and like being a human being. You know,
I mean,
because
welcome
it's
to the
like,
club, kid.
you know, and I would love to meet that kid, whoever that, you know, it's like, good
Welcome
on
to the
him.
club. We think this way.
Yeah,
Welcome to the club.
absolutely. Absolutely. Gives us hope, at least for the future. That's for sure. May that ever increase. We were going to do an MLB preview, though, right, John? And then, unfortunately,
That doesn't work out. Thanks, Joe.
that didn't quite work out because the All-Star game got moved not because of problems with the stadium or lack of attendance or whatever. It got moved over a stupid Georgia voting law that is thinking about requiring IDs of its citizens. You know, like every normal thing that you would do to get like a driver's license, liquor license, you know.
So let's just go through the checklist, Matt. And this is not, but this drives me nuts.
I'm really hoping for that happy segment soon, but go on.
God, I hate
Go
Joe
ahead.
Biden.
Yeah. Go for it.
He's in support of this, by the way.
Yeah.
So this is a basic thing. I thought about this. I read as much as I could on this.
Okay.
We were going to do a MLB preview, but this trumps
Yeah.
the actual playing of baseball. This really does. So what, like, I ask all listeners, I ask everybody, what do you need an ID for? So Matt, what do we need an ID for? Hey Matt, when you go buy beer, do you need an ID?
Yes. You sure do.
When you buy
You need to drive a
cigarettes-
car too.
Yeah, when you buy cigarettes, you need an ID, right?
Definitely. Yep.
Okay, when you book a hotel room,
Yeah, you need that too.
you need an ID.
Yep.
When you fly on a plane,
You need that too. Yep.
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 When you get pulled over, what do you need?
You need a driver's license. Yep. Yep. Need that.
When
What
you
else do you-
apply for college,
Kind of need that too. Yep. Passport.
need-
You definitely need it
you
for a
need an
passport.
ID. When
Yep.
you leave the country,
You need
you
that
need a
too.
passport, which
Yep.
is an ID.
Which is an ID. Yep. Yep.
What don't you need an ID for is what I don't understand. There's not
Yeah.
much.
I can't think of
There's really
an
not much.
instance where you would need. Maybe if you're buying a video game. Well, even then, it's like a
No,
video.
yeah, because
If you buy a video game,
You
you
can
have
be
to
carded
prove
at a
your
video-
age. If it's like certain,
Yeah.
like if it's mature 17 plus, you better have an ID on you.
you can be carded at GameStop. Pretty
Absolutely.
interesting, huh?
Yeah.
But yet Joe Biden has an issue with a
With-
Georgia state law that finally says
Yeah.
to vote, you need to show your ID, which, by the way, is in all other states.
Which I think, correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm gonna like just get up to get my ID. Hold on one second.
Yeah, please do.
I'm just gonna take my, stand up, walk back, and flash it like right there. That took me all of what, 5 seconds?
Hey, look, you got an ID.
Yeah.
I got one over there.
That took all of 5 seconds. Yeah, that's me.
I don't understand why.
Well,
I
here's
don't understand why these people are against it. I don't understand why Major League
here's
Baseball.
my question. If you're Rob Manfred, do you have any testicles? Because, I
Probably
mean,
not. He never
to be
did.
to be perfectly honest, I mean, you basically have allowed a king to dictate from on high. I don't agree with this particular political law. Therefore, I'm going to have you remove your baseball game, your exhibition baseball game, which is what the All-Star game is,
Yeah.
out of the state of Georgia to punish my subjects in Georgia for their wrongheaded
That's pretty much
Neanderthal
what's
thinking.
happening. Yeah, absolutely. That's pretty much.
And
what's
I'm the commissioner. I'm Rob Manfred. I'm just minding my own business. Okay. Hail Biden.
Yo, by the way, I would like DeSantis. I would tell Biden to go kick rocks if I was in that position.
I mean,
I don't
you
understand.
have no credibility. Thank you very much, Rob Manfred. You have no credibility now. And you've also introduced politics into sports, which is something we want to keep far apart from one another. We have an article. We'll throw it up on thehill.com, right?
I also understand, like, if it needs to be, like, if you need to change something, I just don't understand why it's constant. Like, I'm okay with social injustice being corrected through sports because that's where everybody watches. But the thing I don't understand is why we're doing it now and we weren't doing it for
20 years ago.
Years.
Yeah, 20 years ago.
Because it wasn't every single thing met with just corporate America was just beating people down, and we were okay with it now. But now all of a sudden, it's okay. Like, it makes no sense to me.
Funny you mentioned.
Maybe I'm dumb, but I don't understand. I don't understand why all of a sudden why are sports and politics like this?
Yeah.
They've been like this for so
Long.
Ask yourself that question. Why are they so close together? Why is Joe Biden dictating what the MLB does?
Yeah.
Because you know what? Screw the MLB and screw Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Because I really don't think the Georgia voting law does not kill anybody. It doesn't
Not that I'm aware of, no.
anything. It doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
Other than require, like, when in Texas, I have to show my ID before I vote.
Yeah.
So, hey, what's your name? John.
Okay.
Oh, that picture looks like you. Okay.
Okay.
Vote. I don't see a problem. I don't think anybody has a problem with it.
It takes all of 5 seconds to flash an ID. Yep, here it is. Here's me.
And I would love to. I would actually love to find out the people where that's an issue.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it exists. I really don't think it exists.
Yeah, I would agree.
I think they're making it up.
Yeah.
They're making it up as a problem so they can cheat.
It doesn't make it, I agree with you.
It doesn't make any sense. I don't know anybody that lives in the world that I live in.
Yeah.
I think I could just get on my phone and go, hey, do you have an ID so you could vote? Or do you have an ID? Do you have a driver's license?
You get a social security card from the government. That's an ID.
What I'm saying, like, I think, and you know what also is an ID? A birth certificate.
Yeah.
I don't think people are running around without identification to prove who they are. I feel it's false.
I think so too.
I really don't think this is happening.
Yeah.
You're not running rampant in the United States of people running around that doesn't have some kind of identification to prove who they are.
Yeah.
So it makes no sense to me.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and equally, and again, to your point, John, it doesn't make sense to me that an independent sports league is knuckling under the government. That to me is like, you got to be kidding me with that.
Yeah.
Am I all for it? Like, last year, MLB didn't play all that many games. Obviously, they only played 60 because of the pandemic.
Yeah,
Make total sense.
I get it.
But this is the All-Star game. This is a game that 2 days out of the year, you got a home run derby, and then you got the game.
Yeah.
You're done. That's it. And it's a celebration of baseball. It's not as, and all that kind of stuff. For Manfred to do that, to say, you know what? Yeah, okay. I'm going to move it. What, are they ever going to get it back? that stadium down there, from what I understand, is beautiful.
I
but
mean,
it's like, this is ridiculous.
Biden 101. No, you're never gonna get back unless you're good. Remember what he said about the 4th of July? If you're good Americans, you can have the 4th of July.
Yeah, well,
Kiss my ass.
kiss my butt.
Let's move on to a nice thing.
Let's have a nice segment. Come on. John, like I said, it's been awesome to do this with you. And I hope we do another 25 episodes, man. I love this.
We're doing it.
Absolutely.
We're doing well. Just like and share and subscribe, guys.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I hate Joe Biden enough to do enough. I really don't like the dude at all.
Let's transition away from that, and let's talk about this kid that we found. CBS News had this great video, and I think I'm just going to go ahead and play it because I think it just is going to be awesome.
I like this kid.
I like this kid too.
Has been on seniors. Many haven't seen their families in months, and now there's a struggle to find vaccines. The 7th grader from Scarsdale, New York, wanted to help others who might not be as tech savvy, so he built a website, Vaccine Helper.
I was writing in Mitzvah Project, and I thought that it couldn't be that hard, so I decided to help him out.
Through his website, Sam has already booked over 1,600 vaccine appointments for New Yorkers in need, all while juggling schoolwork.
So for me, I do virtual, as I think virtual is easier for me. It also helps me get vaccines, so I have extra time to do that.
Just by gathering patient information and refreshing those vaccine sites, he's been able to make a huge difference for seniors.
It's really amazing, just seeing seniors be able to live their old life without being in complete danger the whole time.
He might not be a senior, but he can certainly relate to wanting a vaccine so you can see your family again.
I've had people tell me that they finally get to see their grandchildren for the first time, and that's amazing, because not being able to see your grandchildren is tough.
Caitlin O'Kane for The Uplift.
And that was definitely uplifting, John.
Oh, no, absolutely. She does good work with Uplift. Yeah. Check that out if you don't know what that is. It's really cool. Yeah, dude, this kid's just a rock star. Like, that's his bat mitzvah project. You know what I mean? He was like, well, I see a need, fill a need. It's a robots video from DreamWorks. Like,
yeah, exactly.
See a need, fill a need. Like, that's good job. Just a great job by that kid.
Kind of reminds me of that one story we had about that kid in Texas bagging everybody. Yeah, just very similar. So it's good to see all of these kids doing this and everything.
It's very cool. Like he understands what needs to happen. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Just wanted to share it with everybody, make everybody smile after, having to trudge through that. All the terrible people in the world.
Exactly. There are bright lights. You just got to look for them. That's all.
Exactly. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, no problem. So that wraps up episode 25 of Two Noobs Talking. John, man, as always, great to do this with you. Let's throw some shameless plugs at people, as we always do. All right.
Socials, you find us on Facebook and Instagram, TikTok, and Clapper. We'll put short videos up on all of them. What we see fit to be viewed to draw you over the YouTube for our video.
Nice. And that leads into the video, of course, the YouTube. We want you to like, share, and subscribe our videos. I believe we're not on Rumble.
Not right now because they're having technical difficulties, but we will get back to it eventually. But yes, please
share and
subscribe. Please, absolutely. YouTube is our hub. We're doing well, so we keep going. Audio podcast. We are running on Apple, Spotify, iHeart, Google Podcast. Anywhere else you can find us, just search us at Two Noobs Talking 215-512 podcast.
And then, of course, our fabulous show notes, as John loves when I hold them up. Show notes can be found TwoNoobsTalking@wordpress.com. Check them out. You can also enter in your email address on that site, and when you hit enter there, those show notes will be dropped in your inbox the very next day. How about that for service? Bam! So, John, that wraps up episode 25, Two Noobs Talking. Got anything final to say, bud?
Matt, don't go down the rabbit hole.
Thank you for doing that for me, bud. Talk to y'all next week. Take care.